Another thing I'm thinking is a difference for some autistic people and some people who aren't autistic is the is fa facial expression. So, and it's almost like the inability to fake smile or social smile. I don't know. There's something around that. Now some autistic people have mask, so can mask that, and that's a whole other conversation for us to have another time probably. But some autistic people are not masking, and so that they're smiling when they genuinely feel there's something to smile about, and that might not be when I have entered the room and they're there, and it might not be when I've checked trying to check in how they are. So my son's first term at university, I thought he was having a really terrible time because if I asked him how he was, he had quite a blank facial expression. He wasn't masking with me.
Mm.
And even though I know him really well, and I know that's not part of how he necessarily communicates, I'm not expecting him to do a fake smile or anything. It still drew me into a slight level of stress as a mother, thinking, is he okay? Actually, I could trust him to give me the honest answer. He was telling me he was okay with his words, but I wasn't getting the face that I would be using to communicate that I'm okay. Because it's different. It doesn't mean anything for him, I don't think, in that way. Because when he came back home and I saw him, I said, what's it been like? He said, that's been the best few months of my life so far. I didn't
Oh,
get I didn't get that from his facial expression. And I wish I'd remembered that because it would have been a lot more relaxing for me as his mum to remember that for him, I can trust his verbal communication, his words carry the meaning.
yeah, but it can be so hard because obviously, I mean, a lot of what is happening, how we are supposed to communicate, is how our bodies, how our brains respond to the signals and the communication we get, right? So it's not just the words, it's also the non-verbal input and what you are used to seeing, I suppose, in terms of that social construct. Um, and what you expect to see and how you, I suppose, equate smile means everything is fine. Blank face is confusion, or potentially something else. Oh, non-verbal communication. Yeah. I know that I have a very expressive face. Um, now half of the time it's just weird expressions, which is fine. But there's one particular thing that really gets me into trouble, and that's more in terms of personal relationships. It's really hard. It's sort of similar to the story you shared. So sometimes my husband will say things, and I know that I sort of overreact. Well, my face overreacts, and what he sees is an expression of disgust. And he finds it very difficult. And then I suppose that really tells me, oh, why are you so like disgusted by what I just said? And then I say in words, actually, when I clarify in words, certainly my reaction isn't at that level. But it's really hard. And to be fair, often I don't realize it's on him to tell me, oh, you've reacted rather strongly, like your face reacted really strongly. And sometimes that, feeling of, well, what he experiences as disgust. I think it's just confusion and processing and trying to figure out what he's trying to say, but that's
Yeah,
not what he experiences. So that I
yeah,
think, if we really think about many of the conflicts and the breakdowns of communication is that difference between, I suppose, the intent and the impact.
yeah, definitely. And I think it can be that we see something and we make assumptions on the basis of what we're seeing. And
Yeah.
actually, if we can separate out, this is what I've seen. You look a bit disgusted. I'm assuming that that you're really cross with me or whatever it might be. But that's the assumption, isn't it? And maybe if there's more openness or an ability to separate and communicate, this is what I've seen, this is what I've noticed, and this is what that's making me think. There's a chance to have a kind of a clarification. Say, oh no, actually, I was just processing. It might be something completely different. And actually, if we know what's really going on, if we understand someone's intent, and if we can get to the intent, it's often a really good intent and it makes sense. And when things make sense, I think it calms everyone down.
Yeah, absolutely. And something else that has happened a few times as well. I think sometimes things that come out of my mouth, they don't really register in my own head. And to be fair, I think if anything, it just shows, I suppose, the solidity of my relationship again with my husband, because he would I think he's brave and courageous enough to say, sometimes it takes him a few minutes, but he will be like, what you said a few minutes ago really hurt me. I'm like, what did I say? Because I have no recollection. And then he tells me word by word, and I'm like, did I really say that? That is horrible, right? But because he has that, I suppose, courage to say, first of all, there's something that you said that really hurt me. This is what it is. We can actually have a conversation. I can repair it by saying, I'm really sorry, that's not what I meant. And maybe clarify, well, this is what I intended to say.